What up? What up? Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below. I'm Tom Smoke, and we just got done doing the P90X Week 9, Day 2 plyometrics. It's the post-workout pump check. We had a pretty good turnout. We had 1,100 folks show up to the party tonight. Last night, we had 7,000. It was fucking awesome. So hopefully tomorrow, we're going to be doing another lifting day, and we're going to get another huge crowd. So if you were there last night, hell yeah, thanks for joining me. And if you was here tonight, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. I hope you thought that maybe you could do that workout too. I think you can. You know, that's one of the main purposes of my videos is to demonstrate that you don't have to do crazy exercises. You don't even have to do, any specific training split, so to speak. I do a DVD workout program. It's that simple. I have dumbbells, I do body weights, calisthenics, circuit training, high volume, low intensity, getting the muscles stimulated and getting the work in every day, getting enough done so that I make progress and that it's sustainable. Because that's the nice thing about P90X, among many, is it is sustainable. They have a half-hour version. So once you get to the level that you want to get, you can pull it back and just do a half hour. If you're really busy, all you need is a half hour, a couple days a week. You can pick your workout, 30-minute Pilates, 30-minute MMX, 30-minute arms, abs, whatever. You pick. But if you're like me and you went to the gym for a while, you put in a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of money, and didn't really have shit to show for it, you might have got a little turned off by going to the gym. You might be a little daunted by going back to the gym because the gym, it's a big world. There's a lot of shit going on at the gym, a lot of distractions going on at the gym. But the fundamentals for the core movements, how do you learn about that? You go on YouTube, you hire a personal trainer, you get a book, you get a magazine, but you don't just start lifting weights and know how to lift weights. So for me, I really just wanted to get straight to the point and started getting results. I had the P90X a long time ago. I've owned a copy for 20 years now. So I decided I had to put it to work. But the hour was still a little too much for me, so I started out with 30 minutes. And it was tough. It kicked my ass. It kicked my ass. But 30 minutes, I could tough it out for 30 minutes. That's what I thought. That's what I did. And I was doing push-ups. I started out on my knees, started out doing 1 or 2 push-ups, little half push-ups, partial push-ups. My shoulder was fucked when I started out. My back was weak. My legs were weak. I was super out of shape. I mean, the workouts I had when I first started out were pathetic. But I realized that they were really pathetic. I realized that my form was bad. I realized there was a lot of deficiencies in my techniques. So I had to re-strategize and reformulate. I got resistance bands because my pull-ups were very poor. My shoulder pulling muscles were extremely weak. Through all of my work history, I've usually exercised my pushing muscles and my carrying muscles more than my pulling muscles. So when I started to exercise those muscles, they were bad. I couldn't do a full pull-up. I had to use a chair. My form was terrible because I was too heavy to pick myself up. So the resistance bands was how I modified those exercises to get the range of motion for my armpit muscles, for the back of my arm, my shoulder, the top of my collarbone, clavicle area. And over the course of time, they got stronger. So you may find out that when you're just starting out, you got to start out really light. You got to be humble. Don't think that just because you're a big dude, you can go in and start slinging weights around. You're going to get hurt like me. Don't do that. Go in with an open mind. Start out lifting 5 pounds. You might be surprised how heavy 5 fucking pounds gets after a while. But lift it 50 times and then come talk to me about it. Tell me how easy it is. But if you keep it up, you do your motions, you get your exercises in every day, doing the dance, getting your prize, you will accumulate enough prizes to make a display. You'll be able to show off your body. You'll be able to stop being embarrassed. You know, I love showing off my tummy now. It used to hang out over my fingers. I used to have 4 fingers worth of belly fat 3 years ago, and now I don't. You might be in the same situation, fellas. You can change your life. You can change your physique without hormones, without peptides, without all that goofy shit. For free, naturally. But you got to be mindful. It's going to take years. This isn't some kind of quick fix. This is a lifestyle change to get the fat off your ass, to get the visceral fat to stop aromatizing your testosterone, which forces it lower because it converts your testosterone into estrogen. Don't be hoodwinked by your doctor telling you that you need something that you don't. Trust me, you probably don't need TRT as much as the doctor needs money. And the doctor wants your money especially bad. He's got a house payment, and he's probably got a Maserati and a boat, and he wants to go to Cancun this summer. But take matters into your own hands. If you're weak, if you've got a sore back, if you've got sore knees, sore shoulders, you're probably just weak and you're not exercising them properly. My traps were sore all last year because they were weak for a whole year. You might be dealing with shit for a while, fellas, but you got to be tough. You got to be tougher than that. If you're trying to be a commander, if you're trying to command respect, if you're trying to earn this kind of physique, fellas, you got to earn it. It takes time. You don't just become great right away. You have to be bad, and then you got to be okay, and then you got to be good before you can be great. And there's so many other levels above and below that. But you won't unlock your potential if you just keep the keys in your hand and don't do nothing with them. You know, it don't do no good to have a Maserati if you ain't going to drive it, buddy. You got a big ass mansion, but you don't want to walk through the front door and see how nice it is. Why even have the keys? Give them to somebody else who's going to use them. But if you got kids, if you're trying to be an old man like me, you're trying to be a handsome husband for your spouse, turn that switch and get her wet just by walking around. I don't need fancy clothes. Matter of fact, she prefers me without clothes. Don't need no fancy colognes. Don't got to take her on no fancy dates to prove the point. Because my hard work is the proof. I'm showing her how much I love her. I'm showing her how much I want to represent. How I feel for my family. Because I want everybody to know that I'm proud to be the dad in this house. I'm working hard for that title. That title comes with respect. It comes with honor. It comes with dignity. You know what I'm saying? But if you're 40 plus and you're fat and you got kids, you need to be a better example. You need to be a better man. And you know that already. So what are we even talking about? You know, you got to make that choice, fellas. You don't want to be the guy getting the bad news from your doctor telling you that you fucked up and now you got to make some choices. It's do or die. You don't want to get a pacemaker. You don't want to get liver replacement, kidney replacement, high blood pressure, having a stroke, getting on cholesterol medication. You don't want to be that guy because you've been too lazy sitting around drinking, eating Cheetos and pizzas and cookies and cakes and candies and donuts, fast food. But you can be healthier and you can be the leanest, healthiest version of yourself. You know, we just got done doing plyometrics. We checked these legs out. Boom. Got them shin muscles. So I'm not too good with these poses on my legs. But anyway, they look pretty good. I got some big ass calves. And my thighs are getting pretty strong. But I'm still really weak. But I'm not giving up. And over the course of time, I am getting stronger. And you can too, fellas. Because you don't start out strong, you start out weak. But you got to go past that weakness to build your power, to build your strength, to build all your stats up and level up in real life. You know, you're going to spend time on a game, you're going to spend money on a game. I'm too busy playing the game of life and winning. Where are you at? Let's get with the program, fellas. Let's get ripped. Check me out live at midnight every night. We're doing training. I'm showing you how to do this shit. You can get you a copy of the P90X. You can do it for yourself at home. But home fitness, you can do this. You ain't got to worry about being embarrassed. You ain't got to be ashamed that you're weak, that you're crying and struggling, that you're whimpering like a bitch. I've been there. I was all by myself, but I was working, putting in the work, crying like a bitch because it hurt. But you can't get stronger if you don't push your limits. And if it took me whimpering, grimacing, making a funny face, but pushing myself and getting past those limits, I wouldn't be here today. I'd be a fucking quitter. Are you a quitter? You tried exercising before and gave up, didn't do too good at it. I'm telling you now, try it again, fellas. You can do it. If you already started and you're making progress, you lost 5 pounds, 10 pounds, congratulations. That's hard. But it ain't over yet. If you got 20, 30 pounds, you're down. But you still got another 50 or 60 pounds to go. You're making great progress. But I assure you, every single one of you, the fat loss road is slow. There's no way that it happens fast. There's ways that you can rapidly lose fat for sure, but they're very taxing. They're very demanding. and they have a high failure rate. That's why not a lot of people do them. But there's strategies out there. There's ways you can plan for it, but it's going to take time. You're going to have to do your own work. You're going to have to try these things and figure out what fits in your macros. What foods do you respond better to? You know, there's certain foods that I'm not able to have a high volume of because they get me bloated in the middle, but also because they're goofy shit. Fast food, donuts, coffees, like fancy, whatever, sugary coffees, ice creams, stuff like that will get me bloated. Eating a lot more food volume, like a lot of starchy foods like pastas and potatoes and stuff, get me feeling a little bit more bloated. But when you're losing weight, losing fat, you have to be smart about it and utilize the science in your favor to your benefit. Because when you're losing fat and gaining muscle, you can kind of do both at the same time, but you really have to pick one or the other. And you have to commit to whichever one you want to do. So for me, I started out with a diet, and I did the diet as long as I could handle it. And then when I was tired of the diet, when I was honestly struggling to make it, I got out of the diet, eased on out. You don't just go from whatever the diet is to 3,500 calories or whatever you're trying to eat. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't eating fast food, and I was making sure that I stayed in the meal plan. I had a written meal plan blueprint. I had a skeleton outline of a menu. You got to stick to the menu, fellas. You can't get too fancy or too many options. Stick with a single breakfast item, maybe 2 breakfast options. Stick with 2 or 3, lunch options. Same thing with dinner. And then you just want to rotate those all over the course of the time of the diet. And it's probably not going to get that boring because you're going to be mixing up sauces and you're going to be doing other stuff with it. But as far as the meat selection, you're going to have to get used to eating the same meats. I mean, chicken, beef, pork, fish, shrimp. That's like all the meats in the world. I don't know what other variety, you want. But as far as making the food, you got to spend a little bit of money, buy family packs, buy you, 5, 6, 7 pounds worth of the shit and make it for a week. You're going to have to make it. You're going to have to do the work. It can be done. You can do this. If you're doing it, congratulations. Billions of people aren't doing it. Billions of people are pussyfooting around. They're tap dancing around it. They don't want to go to the dance. But you are. I am. We're getting results. We're getting ripped. We're getting shredded. You're watching the videos. You're watching Wraith Rasai. You're watching Luther Vasulian, Tarek Talks, Southpaw Honcho. You're looking at Elevate Every Man, Tom Smoke. You're checking out all these guys. Brandon Carter, Brandon Clark. The list goes on. Noto Content. They got all these guys. The OGs have been there for forever. But the point is that they're all out there to tell you that you could do it. But you got to put in the work. You got to have that mindset. You got to have that switch turned on. Because that why, the reason why you got to do the work overshadows all the work that you got to do, brother. Because it don't matter how much work you got to do. It's got to be done no matter what. If you're a dad, you got to take care of them kids no matter what. You got to be there no matter what. You got to be old for them no matter what. Because they need you. They're going to need you for a long time. They're going to need you to be a grandpa. They might even need you to be a great grandpa. But if you ain't healthy, if you ain't taking care of yourself, you ain't going to be there in the future. Think about that and make the change today. And if you're making the change, if you did it, congratulations. Again, you should be proud of yourself. This is a hard fucking road to go down. It's so much easier to just go to the fast food, pay the money, get you a bag, and shove your face. It's so much easier to go by the liquor store, get a 6-pack, and say, yeah, I got a 6-pack. I just got it. It's just yummy. I got 2. It's so much easier to sit on my ass and watch TV than it is to get shredded and get ripped. But you know what's not easy? Dealing with the emotional and mental stress of looking at myself in the mirror every day and then thinking about the future and wondering how bad is it going to be tomorrow. My whole body hurts. My life fucking sucks. What's tomorrow going to be like? You know, there was a popular phrase, fuck my life. Maybe you've heard that one before. But you can change the way you feel about yourself. You can change the way you feel about your life in general. And you could flip it. You could prove to all these haters that maybe they can't do it, but I can. You're looking at it yourself in the mirror and you're saying it every morning while you're getting ready for work. I got this. It's going to be a good day today. Boy, we kicked ass yesterday. We're going to kick ass today. It's going to be a whole week of ass kicking. I'm ready. You can feel that way. You got to change your mindset. You got to start having small victories and you got to start getting those accomplishments. Because every 30-minute workout I did made me feel so special because the shit was hard and I earned that sweat. I earned that pain and that soreness from that work that I did. And when I recover, when I start having juicy biceps, humongous calves, ripped chest, ripped veins, abs, all that, I'm going to have earned that. And the pain and the suffering is going to be worth it because eventually I'm going to be stronger. Eventually I won't be sore no more and I won't be so weak. You know? And I'll have better eating habits and living habits in general. I'm going to be a role model for my kids. I'm going to show them, you know, you don't got to hide your bad habits. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to disguise your alcohol or worry about your kid getting some on accident or stealing it out the cupboard when you ain't looking. Stealing your cigarettes and smoking. You know? You got to look out for yourself, fellas. You know, ain't nobody going to do it for you. Don't nobody care about you. I don't care about you. I care about me. I care about my family. That's why I'm getting ripped. But I want you to know how easy it can be. It can be done from home. It can be done with minimal expenses. But you got to buy the DVD. You got to show up every day. You got to have dumbbells and you got to have body weight. And you got to want it. You got to have the eye of the tiger, the heart of the lion, and the hunger of the wolf. If you want to be a commander, command respect. So join me tomorrow at midnight. We're going to be getting it in. Check out my other training videos, progress, diet tips, advice, experience. observations, and more. I'm Tom Smoke. I used to be fat and now I'm fit. I got lean and ripped. 2026, we're getting shredded, baby. And watch me go. 7,000 people at the live show last night, 1,100 at the live show tonight. So hopefully tomorrow we're going to be breaking records and we're going to be back up to 7,000. So I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Later.